This is Metabolic Radio, the podcast dedicated to keeping you informed when it comes to everything fitness. My name is Taylor Empey, and with the help of my co-host Shane Pace, we aim to expose the truths about the health and fitness industry. The information and suggestions given in this podcast should not be considered as clinical or medical advice. Consult with a physician before implementing any information provided on this podcast.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so we're going to talk about...
We are live. The mic's on.
I told you this.
Right.
Yeah.
Move along.
So, this is going to be a continuation from the Q&A real briefly with one question that was asked by Mike Moon. And he asked us...
This was probably last week's...
What?
This was probably last week's Q&A. Right? Am I right on this?
What do you mean?
It won't be this week's.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because of the order we're going to air this episode in,
correct.
It's going to be...
Anyway, it was a past
It's a past Q&A. It's
fine. We'll go with that.
So, anyway, Mike asked us, what are our thoughts about IIFYM? This is an acronym that's become really popular in social media and the internet in general, and it stands for If It Fits Your Macros.
I mouthed that while he was saying it just because it was funny.
So this philosophy, pretty much, the best way to describe it is that it allows you to eat whatever you want as long as, quote unquote, it fits your macros. Do you want to talk about a little bit about the background?
Give some of the macro background stuff.
Okay. So, because not everyone knows what macros are. So, macros is the slang term for macronutrients, which are proteins, carbs, and fats. Okay. So, when people say, what macros should I be eating, or what's your macro split, or it's okay because it fits my macros, they're talking about the fact that, I've been following a set percentage of eating a certain percentage of protein, a certain percentage of carbs, and a certain percentage of fats in my total daily caloric intake. So you have macronutrients, and that's the proteins, carbs, and fats. You have micronutrients, which are your vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, the non-caloric nutrients. But macros are basically caloric nutrients. Now they have micronutrients in them.
Well, macros have calories.
They're very micro. They're very low in calories.
Yep.
So, if it fits your macros is a philosophy that you can eat whatever you want, and that it's just based off of calories in and calories out. And as long as it fits your macronutrient profile that you're supposed to, quote unquote, follow, and that can be determined based off of many different things, then you're fine to eat whatever foods you want, right?
Yep. And I have... Anybody that knows me knows that I am 100% against IIFYM.
Well, so why don't you...
I guess 100% is not fair. That's not true. I'm not a believer.
Okay.
I will say Lane Norton is the biggest pusher on this that I know of. Mm-hmm. And he is someone that I have.
But other podcasts have
for,
talked about him. He's obviously he's an authority in the industry, and
he's knowledgeable.
Yeah. But other podcasts have talked about him, and he doesn't take this to a radical extreme. So here's the thing: I use if it fits your macros philosophy. In a sense, I technically do, because I give my clients education on different breakdowns of macronutrient splits, as I call them, or basically ratios. So, certain body types, naturally skinny people, naturally muscular, athletic people, naturally heavy folks, they will respond sometimes to a specific macronutrient percentage ratio. So I will, start people on a certain profile of macronutrients based off body type too, sometimes. And so, do I use some of the philosophy of macronutrient ratios? Yeah, of course I do. But do I abide by, it doesn't matter what you eat as long as you are within your calories and within these percentages, no, I don't.
Which is what a lot of this. Here's my biggest problems with IIFYM, and I think you and I have talked about this in the past a little bit.
Yeah.
But my biggest issues with it is that it justifies eating whatever you want.
Yep.
And that's what really bothers me.
Whether you do that or not, because there's a lot of people that do IIFYM that
well, at least
that eat well,
right.
and then they have a cheat meal or two or whatever, and they just don't feel guilty about it, and that's fine. They're exercising some form of structure and moderation. But there's people that take this to the complete extreme,
yep.
and they're putting pictures online about bulking season, and they're eating a whole pizza, or gains, and they're eating fast food and just crap, In-N-Out burgers and stuff like that, and you know what I mean. So there's definitely people that will take it to the extreme, and there's people that will use it as a tool.
Well, like I said, and then that well, let's talk diet specifically at this point, since that's what we were going to kind of hit as an overview anyway. But my point is, when you eat correctly, you can technically do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that I'm a hater for the idea that you can use carbs. It's not a hater about anything specifically. I'm not going to be down on protein, high proteins done correctly. I'm not going to be down on high fats done correctly. I'm not a believer in high carbs because of what it can do to you on a physiological basis. And IIFYM, the way that its whole premise sets, you can absolutely completely go overboard on carbs, and I just don't see
or
that
even types of carbohydrates, sugars and alcohol,
specifics,
and things like that, because those are types of carbohydrates.
But
they're not necessarily the types of carbohydrates you should be consuming a lot of.
Right, and I mean, and like I said, I think you would have been stronger in favor of this before you started doing ketogenic stuff yourself.
I mean, I wouldn't have necessarily been more in favor of IIFYM, but high carb, I was just a few months ago. I was on high carb,
right.
So I'm currently experimenting with ketogenic, as you saw me just eat a few tablespoons of peanut butter, just barely,
cool. Which is cool. I dig peanut butter too.
I think.
Granted, I'm eating garbage in that form, but
before we talk about kind of our own personal nutritional philosophies, we should, I think, solidly answer Mike's question, which was, what are our thoughts on it? And I think we gave some thoughts, but I think we need to give justification for why. And because I have a couple bullet points of reasons why I disagree with it, not just on a scientific basis.
All right. Well, I'll start off, and I'll just and I am going to answer it while going off on a different direction at the same moment. But if you eat on the evidence that I've seen of eating at, say, a ketogenic diet, which causes your body to eat ketones, as we discussed in previous episodes,
which is a source of energy that comes from the breakdown of and mobilization of fat.
Right. People complain about the idea that you lose energy, that it's restrictive, this, that, and the other, and what I found, what I've read, what you've experienced actually since you've been doing it, is that you actually have higher energy levels. It's more sustainable. Carbohydrates is not necessitated for these kinds of activities, the running and all that kind of stuff that people use them for. I think it's helpful.
It's a source.
It is a
but
source.
It's not the only source.
Right, and that's the reason why the stuff that we wanted to talk about,
one like we mentioned in a recent podcast, carbohydrates are not required for survival.
That is correct.
Fats and proteins you will die without.
Yep. So my problem with the IIFYM is basically, in a nutshell, my biggest issue with it is it narrows it down almost to the calorie. And I have a problem when they suggest calories are calories. And that's and the philosophy, even though it truly isn't that, it is taken as that. And that's one of the reasons I have a massive issue with it, so I don't like it.
I think it's irresponsible for authorities in the fitness industry to fully endorse it without saying, hey, this is a tool, but you should be careful with it. Because if let's say someone like Layne Norton backs it, and I haven't looked into any, a lot of what he has out there on the internet about it, and if he does kind of say, hey, you guys should still try to eat well, or whatever.
He does. I'll tell you he does. I've seen that.
So, but let's say another authority on his level starts backing it. Well, guess what? Every person that subscribes to that person, that holds them in high regard and as an authority of health, fitness, and nutrition in their life is going to do it blindly. They're not going to look into it. They're not going to question it. They're going to say, he's the guy or girl. They're the expert. I'm going to do what they say. And that's awesome because now I can just eat whatever I want. And it's irresponsible for an authority who knows better or who's educated to do that. And to subject their followership and other people who are ignorant when it comes to nutrition, to subject them to the health risks and the long term effects that would come with eating a low nutrient dense, high calorie dense, poor quality of food diet. Well, just because it fits a particular macronutrient profile,
and that's the reason why I personally have an issue with it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to deny that carbs actually do help with performance because they do.
Absolutely, yeah, we know this. There's plenty of studies on carbohydrates in terms of increasing performance. Yeah,
the funny thing is, but if you don't eat carbs and you do a ketogenic diet correctly, it also does the same thing.
Mm-hmm. The problem is that people don't, when they try to eat ketogenic, or whether it's intentional or unintentional, they don't replace lost calories with, or enough. They don't. I won't even say calories. They won't replace enough food with healthy fats to be used as an energy source. And that's the way to say it. And so they feel they basically do a low carb, high protein diet.
Yes.
And they're not replacing enough fuel from fats, and that's why they get groggy and fatigued and feel like crap all the time. Now, will that initially happen during the first few days or maybe a couple weeks as you're transitioning and teaching your body to run off a different fuel source? Yeah, that'll happen. But the people that are on it for months on end that just keep having all these terrible experiences and not feeling energized and feeling hungry, and
usually it's because they're low in fats.
It's because they're not eating enough fat.
Usually. Yeah. Now I will admit, and I want to put this.
It's not for everybody though.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I want to make this point is that if you think that it's going to be for you for sure, it's not. It's not a guaranteed thing. Mm-hmm. It's like we've talked about before. People are individuals, and their physiology may not react as well for it. That's partly the reason why the metabolic flexibility diet that I've talked about a couple times in the forum is something that I like because it leans towards both.
Yeah,
it's a little bit more.
And I've been doing keto on and off for a while now. I do kind of a weekend carbohydrate refeed.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit.
That's within reason, and I'm still kind of formulating my opinion and experimenting with different intakes to see if I'll be able to hit certain goals on keto and that kind of thing. So I'm still in that deciding phase. But in terms of already seeing benefits, yeah, I've seen benefits. Mm-hmm. There's some things that, like I said, I'll just kind of determine if I want to continue doing it long term or not. But I've definitely noticed at least an increase in insulin sensitivity and carbohydrate sensitivity.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a big portion of the reason why people should do something that's keto related. Mm-hmm. Is insulin sensitivity is huge. The importance, in my opinion, is humongous for the majority of the populace.
Yeah. One, with type 2 diabetes and prediabetes running rampant in our country and around the world, really.
Let's step beyond that, dude. Let's talk cancer. So, and I'm serious about this because some of the more recent studies that they're putting out right now about cancer cells is the keto.
Oh, because of inflammation?
Inflammation's portions of it, yes. But
and the fact that... Sorry.
No,
I'll let you explain because I don't want to cut you off.
You can. No, you're good.
I was reading something about how cancer...
Did I say that study?
It's fed... I think we either saw the same thing or we were talking about it on Facebook or something. But basically, cancer feeds off glucose. So when you starve it, when you teach your body to run off ketones and dietary and bodily fat,
it's not conclusive yet. But
it's not necessarily like it's going to be like this cure-all, but it dramatically in tests and studies has been dramatically increasing the reduction and spread of certain cancer cells. It is because it starves them out.
I was going to say, right.
To grow.
It has been shown to stop the progression. Is what I would.
I thought I did read something about reduction. Am I correct?
No. Reduction is the one that I couldn't say has been more or less proven by studies yet. But the slowing of progression has been for years now. They've talked about that. Mm-hmm. Ketones, because they don't feed it. Ketones do not feed cancer cells. Mm-hmm. I've got some other Mitochondrial. I'm saying it wrong.
Mitochondrial.
Mitochondrial.
Mitochondrial. Huh?
Yeah.
Let's learn about that.
It's already that day. Hey, I ate today. All right, so don't get mad at me.
I told Shane it was his homework. He had to eat something before we recorded so that he could stay focused.
I didn't eat last time. Right.
Well, so some of the points I wanted to make about IIFYM before we keep going down the metabolic flexibility path is that the philosophy of telling yourself it's okay to eat whatever you want, quality doesn't matter as long as you get the right proteins, carbs, and fats, is unhealthy. It's unhealthy. You're not getting enough nutrient dense foods. You could potentially only be focusing on macronutrient dense foods. You're not getting enough vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients for proper bodily functions. You're getting enough energy to sustain yourself, but you'd be more likely to get sick. You'd be more likely to get injured, have other medical issues down the road, have nutrient deficiencies. There's just a laundry list of things that could go wrong if you're only focusing on macronutrient energy consumption and not micronutrient. So that's one of my points. And of why you need to focus on eating well and eating whole foods. Sure, you can enjoy yourself and you can have some poor quality foods or whatever, cheap foods or whatever you want to call it, in moderation. But if you're wanting to get in shape and truly be a healthy person and continue to see progress in your health, fitness, performance, physique, then you need to be focusing on eating whole foods for the majority of your diet. Another thing that I I think the biggest issue with this is it's disordered eating by definition.
It is, absolutely.
It's not an eating disorder, but it's disordered eating.
Right.
And that is when you have psychological pathology associated with it. A lot of these people, they eat, some people will, it's kind of like along with cheat meals.
Yep.
Some people will eat 100% perfect Monday through Friday, and then they binge on the weekends.
Right.
And they eat whatever they want. And some people don't even track anything, and then some people do IIFYM for it. And some people do IIFYM all week long, and it's just not healthy.
And I got to throw in a quick joke before he continues this serious stuff.
What?
I was going to just say, yeah, that's what Taylor does.
That's not what I do.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
No. Yeah, I was just kidding. But I was sitting here listening to you.
Did you see my last post? I told you,
I totally thought of that, though.
Who asked me on Facebook? They said, what was the last... Oh, it was Wes.
When was Wes. It was Wes.
What was the last time? What was the last fast food you ate or something? And I was like,
I can answer that for me.
Honestly, bro, I don't eat fast food.
I do.
I think the closest thing to it that I had was an ice cream cone last weekend because I was celebrating
when you got engaged.
When I got engaged. Yeah.
No, not. And
but before that,
true.
I don't even remember.
No.
That long,
that's why I thought it was funny because you were talking. I'm like, you were talking about carbing up on the weekend. Earlier.
Yeah. And
that's why I'm throwing the joke at. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he eats 100% good during the week.
Yeah, no. I said it was. What did I use the word? I said it was within reason or something.
Yeah.
Which
is true.
When I say I carb up, like my insulin sensitivity is.
Dude, you eat so
now.
much. Overall, you eat so much better than I do. It's ridiculous.
I probably do.
I'm always eating bad, dude. I'm on the road.
That's true.
It's so much easier for me to eat fast food.
We need to do an episode on that to where you can talk about how to stay fit while traveling, and especially when your job requires you to do that on a daily basis each week.
See, that's partly why because I eat, like, I'll eat at Wendy's all the blasted time, but I am not a creature of habit. I'm planned in my habits.
So are you following IIFYM?
No,
because
I don't eat hardly any carbs.
So you're getting like salads and stuff like that?
No, I don't eat salads.
What are you getting?
I eat a Baconator without any bun. No mayo, no ketchup. Bro, I did that all the time.
Where you're
look at my fat levels.
You're discrediting us.
No, I'm not.
Where are the nutrients?
They're all over in that, dude. There's proteins in there like crazy.
Micros, dude.
Relax.
That was your comeback. Relax.
Yes, that's my retort.
All right, we definitely need to get you on a transformation program so that you can be accountable to me and our listeners.
I should eat better.
I'll do it with you.
But no, I will tell you, I eat no trans fats. I eat because of how I eat.
None of that has trans fats in it?
Wendy's doesn't.
Oh, interesting.
So, according to what I've read,
quotations.
I need to step back 2 steps and say that because I don't know that for a fact. I mean, it's not like I've really studied Wendy's food, but no, I'm not supposed to be. I basically get 0 trans fats when I eat that.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, I don't eat. I eat salads a lot on the road. but I don't when I'm like going quick because then I can grab it with a fork and I just fork it.
Yeah, well, and
It's for ease.
yeah.
A lot of the way I eat is for ease. But I eat more keto than I do anything.
Do you do any type of preparation with like a cooler or anything that you bring?
I do for the first day, and then I don't on the second day because I'm always.
Did you run out or?
I plan it that way because I eat everything that's in my cooler on the first day.
Okay.
So.
With talking about IIFYM, another thing is that it creates, in my opinion, it creates poor neural associations with food, meaning that food is fuel. Like, let's be honest, people. Food is fuel, and can you enjoy your food? Yes. Should you? I think so. Can it taste good? Yeah. There's ways that you can make eating well and eating healthy very tasty. I'll say this. I don't eat food that I don't like. I honestly enjoy every piece of food that I eat in the fashion that I eat it because I enjoy it for that. But a lot of people have neuroassociations, or essentially brain emotional responses and connections to specific foods. I will say this: there's two things that I have a neuroassociation with food-wise that is kind of like a stress reliever for me. That's beer and chocolate.
Right.
And I make sure that I moderate those two things.
Well, and
but everything else is really just it's food.
Yeah, but I want to bring up what Sue said about what caused strawberries to be part of her diet. Dessert. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that once you start to go keto, sugar has such a effect on you.
Impact.
Yeah, and you taste it substantially higher, and it's too sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's
the sensitivity.
It's the sensitivity, right? And so if you do this correctly, it makes it so that you actually enjoy your foods more anyway.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem is that all of our foods since the Ansel Keys thing. Got all the fat removed, and the food industry started loading up everything with sugar. Mm-hmm. Our sensitivity to sweetness has dramatically decreased because of the increase in sweetness in everything.
For sure.
Artificial sweeteners are anywhere from 200 to 600 times sweeter than sugar. Even though they don't have calories, there's more sugar in everything because it's more palatable.
But why do they not have calories? Because they're toxic.
Oh. Elaborate on that.
Be real on that, because most of the stuff that you're eating is not, the body can't do anything with. It's highly detrimental. Aspartame. Let's take that specifically.
Yeah.
Aspartame is a toxin to the body.
It's a carcinogen.
And it causes all these different issues because of
sucralose, which is Splenda.
Yep. So you go down the steps on following what it does to you. Mm-hmm. It's not going to have calories because your body wants to get rid of it. It's trying to dump it, so it's not going to go into its fat cells. It's it's trying to get rid of it, so it starts to do, like, that's why they say it affects your DNA levels.
Yeah, but that's why it's when we, people talk about primal times and before cultivated crops and those kind of things.
And I say whatever.
But like that's why it's so hard for people nowadays to go back to eating whole foods. And they say, like...
I agree with that.
Where they look at someone like what Sue said, and they're like, what do you mean strawberries taste like dessert? And it's like, well, because she actually took the time to come off sugar.
I agree with that.
Increase her sensitivity to carbohydrates and sweetness. And now because her sweetness tolerance is so much lower, she can have a bowl of strawberries, and it does literally taste just as satisfying as something that is less healthy and more sugary.
Absolutely.
Because she's taken the time to reset her body and her sensitivity to sweetness.
Right.
And that's the same thing for me. Like, when I posted on that, and I was like, that sounds delicious to me, to be honest.
Yeah. I'll say this really quick. So, the thing is with the way that society's gone is especially in the United States, we're such a fast-paced world, the way we run, that you don't have time to do anything. So you go in the middle of the grocery store, all this stuff has been processed and built up, and it's because you don't have time to do anything else. Boom, fast food, you name it. That's why we do it. That's why people eat it more often by far.
Yeah,
and IIFYM comes from that mentality.
Yeah,
and just trying to make it work.
Yeah, was it created out of with maybe the intention of doing something good to help people stay guided in a less healthy world?
I believe so.
I believe so too.
Yep.
But
I believe that's where Lane's going.
Like I said, I still use it as a tool. I still use macronutrient breakdowns and profiles specific for different client profiles.
That's the right
for
way
a
to train.
reason.
It's the right way to train people.
Yeah, but using that as a justification to throw in more less healthy foods, I don't agree with.
No, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
So nutshelling the, I guess the response to this is, overall, we don't agree with the base principles. We agree with the base principles. We don't agree with the I can't even say it.
Implementation?
That's the word! I knew you'd read my mind. Gosh, it's a day of me not talking right. That is not going to be a good thing. That's all right. Whatever. It is what it is. But no, that's the problem we've got, is how it's used. Mm-hmm. You know, and so when you look at it from the perspective of the base intention of it, it can be used and be healthy.
Yeah. So I think that's what people should take away from it, is that it's a tool. Like we always talk about, everything we talk about is a tool.
Yep.
You know, and IIFYM can be a tool that can be useful if you're doing it within what's reasonable and you're not using it as justification to eat poor. I won't even say using IIFYM. Using macronutrient ratios is a tool. IIFYM, I think, has gotten to the point where, whether it was intentional or not, it's grown to being this philosophy
community
of eating whatever you want.
Yeah, the community
I won't say that IIFYM is a tool.
I accept that.
Macro breakdowns are a tool.
Yeah, I think originally it was, and I think the way that Lane Norton uses it is. Mm-hmm. But the way that it's used by the masses, it is not. And so I would say stay away from it completely, personally. But
yeah. Understand the right balance for you, or experiment with different ratios of proteins, carbs, and fats to find what works best for you. And that's really what everyone ought to be doing, because everybody, your hormone profile, your activity level, whether you're an athlete or not, tons of different, so many different factors are going to body type. They're all going to determine what type of breakdown of proteins, carbs, and fats you should eat. And it can fluctuate. You know?
Right. No,
really
for sure. And it's going to be individualized. But on that note, I'm going to have to say we're probably not going to be able to talk about the other stuff today. I wouldn't go.
Do you think you got more than 10 minutes of it that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, just because
we could segue talking about how IIFYM may increase dramatically inflammation and things like that, and then segue into what you want to
talk about. Which it does, but 10 minutes, I just don't think we can cover that, the concept behind metabolic flexibility as good as we should.
Let's do it as
in
a
10
separate
minutes.
one.
So
we're doing that for you people.
Right.
Because we're already bumping up to 30 minutes here. So
and we're trying to control these to a smaller doses.
We know that you're busy. You guys are driving to work, or you're listening to this in between or during your workout. So we're going to make sure that we don't keep you from missing out on things by making these episodes too long. So
yeah, we know that
we
have a tendency to.
Yeah, look for the future episode on metabolic flexibility.
Yeah, and honestly, that one I think is going to be more dietary overall, because, like I said, Taylor and I have not discussed it in depth, because I personally would like to stamp our name on it, because I really like the way it's set up, and Taylor's not to that point yet. So we'll get there.
Well, until next time. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Shane and I hope you learned something new and exciting today about your own health and fitness. Head over to metabolicradio.com. There you'll find our bios and our results-driven programs that are designed to help teach you everything you need to know when it comes to getting real permanent results. You can also sign up for our newsletter to get free weekly updates. To chat with Shane or I, just email us at taylor@metabolicradio.com or shane@metabolicradio.com. We would love to hear from you. You can also join the conversation on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and search for Metabolic Radio Private Forum. There you can request to join the group. We would love to add you to the conversation and answer your questions on the show. And hey, if you like our podcast, please help us grow our community by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. We would really appreciate your help. Thanks again so much for all your support and your listenership. Now go out there and spread the good word of fitness.